Hello everyone and Happy New Year! Try that again. Hello everyone and Happy New Year! I hope that you had a very safe and happy Christmas and a good New Year. So today I'd like to have a little Q&A session, and you'll have to forgive the background noise every now and then. It appears my neighbor is doing some DIY. I would have loved to have filmed this video outside, but my battery doesn't do so well in the cold, unfortunately, and it kept turning itself off. So I'm here in my next best thing, in my conservatory, and you might occasionally see deer and other things popping through the hedge behind me. So yeah, if you do, I hope you enjoy that. It'll give you something else to focus on apart from me talking. This is a New Year's Q&A video that I decided to do with the help of some of my supporters on Patreon. So I asked them to ask me questions, and here we are. So let's get started. So the first question is, who or what on your path has been most influential to your spiritual journey? Well, there's a lot of people, actually. I can't say just one person, but I think the person who has probably influenced me the most in my life would have to be David Bowie. I fell in love with him when I was 12 or 13, and I saw Labyrinth in the movie theaters for the first time, and since then I have followed everything that he had done, and yeah, just loved the way that he was artistic. He was willing to express himself without fear of repercussion. He never played to the gallery. He always did his own thing. And enjoyed what he was doing. And it was that fearlessness, that boldness, that really inspired me to just be who I was, you know, not to put on masks, not to try and please other people. So yeah, number one for sure would be David Bowie. Then I would probably have to say, well, it depends where on my spiritual journey we're talking about, of course, because I started off as a Wiccan way back in the early 90s, and Scott Cunningham was a very big influence for me. I then moved from Wicca into studying more Zen and Buddhism, and Thich Nhat Hanh was probably the most influential person for me when it came to Buddhism and studying Zen and developing Zen habits. Speaking of Zen habits, Leo Babutua, if I pronounced that right, had a lovely blog called Zen Habits, and that was really inspiring for me as well. When I moved to Druidry, my inspirations were Emma Rustel-Orr and Philip Carr-Gomm. Also, I enjoyed the fictional books from Ellen Everett Hopman, the Druid books. She has a lovely trilogy which I highly recommend, which is very good for also incorporating into your own practice, getting inspiration and ideas from those books. But I think first and foremost it was Emma Rustel-Orr, or Bobcat, and yeah, so I trained with her during one of the last years actually that she was actually teaching. I think she stopped teaching a year or so afterwards. She was teaching quite big groups. I think there was over 20 people in that year that she was teaching, and we would all gather together in the Cotswolds, in this beautiful place in the Cotswolds, for several weekends throughout the year, and did her Living Druidry course with her there. You can actually do a perennial Living Druidry course online for free, and I think that's available from the Druid Network. So do check it out. It's written by Bobcat, so it's the next best thing, actually, as she's stopped teaching now. And yes, Philip Cargom was an inspiration as well. He's written many, many lovely books. He's an absolutely lovely chap. And OBOD is a great organisation for learning Druidry. I highly recommend their online course, as well as the British Druid Order. If you want to do really in-depth online courses, do follow them. At Druid College, we're currently offering an Introduction to Druidry online course. We're not offering our full 3-year program online, A, because it's already done so beautifully by those other two organisations, and B, we wanted to do face-to-face teachings at Druid College, which sadly, due to the pandemic, has kind of fallen by the wayside a bit. We don't want to do online stuff, so yeah, we have our introductory course there. But I digress. Most influential to my spiritual journey. So yeah, those are people. Let's see. With regards to witchcraft practice, like just traditional British witchcraft practice, I love the book by Val Thomas. Her latest book is just absolutely incredible, and she's a huge inspiration for me in connecting to the roots, connecting to the land, the energy of East Anglia, where I live. And for my ancestral traditions, which for me is heathenry, there's lots of inspirational people. I work with a group called Buffakin, led by Terry Stannard Smith, and he's lovely, and he's been an inspiration to me, learning all about Anglo-Saxon traditions, bringing them to life here in the modern age has been wonderful. Many, many books. Books released by the Troth organisation have been hugely inspirational to me. Also books by Alaric Albertson, Anglo-Saxon tradition, have been very, very inspirational to me as well. So, gosh, yeah. So many spiritual traditions that I have followed and studied and practiced in my life, in the past and now. So, yeah, I can't limit it to just one. Other inspirational people, Lorena McKennett, oh my god, yes, another musician. She is just, has been absolutely committed to not only producing music, but also to be the best person that she can be, you know. And when I say that, it's not just self-improvement, it's ethics, you know. She started her business from scratch by herself and maintained her integrity throughout the whole process, even when she was, you know, selling millions and millions of books. I can hear some geese flying overhead, that's nice. Sounded like Canada geese, which is very apropos because I'm talking about the Canadian Lorena McKennett. She is just an inspiration, a guiding light. Do check out her music, check out her website. And at the moment she is currently involved in an education centre in Stratford and in many, many other projects which you can all read about on her website. Other artists, Tori Amos has always been a huge influence to me, again teaching me to speak out, speak up for myself, to not try and have to hide behind different facades, and, you know, to basically teach me that if people don't like me for who I am, then don't waste your time. Just get on with it and find people in your life that do accept you and do want to be with you for who you are. Björk, again, another musical artist. Gosh, the geese are just flying over there. Oh, you can't see it. They're really low. So Björk, another artist who, again, has just given two fingers to, you know, normality, and is just who she is, and is absolutely wonderful, and creates amazing music with the inspiration that she receives from all different sources. So yeah, my inspirational people who inspire me, are people who are just willing to just be themselves and to not give a damn what other people say. Oh, right, the camera decided to turn itself off for some reason, so let's try that again. So, different paths of belief and practice, and do people criticize that? I haven't had any criticism, and people know that I practice, you know, an amalgamation of different traditions. You can see that in my writing. I've released 2 books on combining Zen Buddhism and Druidry, so it's pretty obvious that I'm interested in more than one thing, and I practice more than one thing. I remember talking years ago to Philip Cargom and saying, you know, I wish that there was, you know, a term that we could use to express the many varied and different traditions that shape our lives. And he agreed with me, and he says, yeah, I wish we could just call our spirituality the nameless way. And I thought, yeah, that works for me. For many people, they just call themselves pagan, and with regards to their spirituality, and that helps them to follow more than one tradition or combine various traditions, as long as it's appropriate. You know, we don't want to appropriate different cultures without being aware of what we are doing, and without being aware of the context that we are doing it in. So you have to be aware of cultural appropriation. But, you know, we have so many different and varied backgrounds. So, like I was saying before, I started off as Wiccan, and then I studied Druidry, but my ancestry is Germanic, so, you know, I'm learning about Germanic and Scandinavian traditions. I also have Scandinavian ancestry too. So it's a combination of all of these things that makes me and my spiritual tradition what it is today, which I find extremely rewarding. And I haven't had to come across people saying, you're a druid, what are you doing talking about witchcraft, or what does she know about heathenry? So yeah, touch wood, I haven't had those critics. So I firmly believe that, you know, we should follow where our heart takes us, and be aware of what we are doing and in the context we are doing it with. But yeah, go where the Hoeven, go where the inspiration takes you. And yeah, to hell with what other people say. You know, it's good to listen to some criticism, but criticism that is directed as an attack is not worth listening to. Criticism that is meant to provoke thought and, you know, different ways of being and thinking, yeah, bring it on. So yeah, I haven't had any negative feedback with that. I think today, in general, people within the pagan community are more accepting of the fact that people shouldn't be or aren't bound to one pure spiritual tradition, because there is no such thing. There's no such thing as pure Druidry or pure heathenry or, you know, pure anything, because so many people over so many thousands of years have interacted with each other and bounced ideas off of each other and incorporated different things that work. So yeah, there's, as far as I'm concerned, there isn't a problem with that, and I haven't had any negative feedback. So yeah, long may that continue. More acceptance, more inclusion. The last question that I'm going to do today is about places and environments. This is a good question. Do you find that particular places or environments inspire you more than others? Do you find the energies that are present in some environments, such as heathlands or forest, are more approachable than in others? So yes, the energy in particular places calls to me, some more than others. So, you know, a forest is my home. I grew up on the edge of a forest, on the edge of a village with miles and miles of forest behind me. The wonderful boreal forest in Quebec. I miss it so much. So yeah, the forest is where my heart is, you know, being surrounded by trees, nobody around, looking and feeling the wonderful light that filters down through the trees, the sounds, the smells. That is my favorite place in the world to be. And different forests have different energies. So when I was living in Vancouver, for instance, that forest had a very different energy. And actually I found it a little hard to connect to that energy because it was so different from what I had grown up with. You know, the redwoods and things were so different and had such a different energy and a different song. So I had trouble connecting to the land when I was living in Vancouver in British Columbia. I'd never lived near an ocean before either, so that energy, being so close to the ocean, was interesting, but again, it's not something that called to me. I didn't feel called to run down to the beach every single day. Here in the UK, I live very near the coast of the North Sea. And again, it's beautiful and it's such a different environment than what I'm used to, what I was used to growing up with. And it's very different to the coast on the west coast of Canada. You know, it's completely different with the shingle beaches that we have here and the constantly churning murky waters of the North Sea. Very different environment, very, very different energy, and it's a wonderful energy. But again, it's not something that calls to me every single day that says, come and see me, come down to the shore. For me, it's going out onto the heath where there's a little wood, it's a beech wood, and it's got oak trees on the edge and pine trees in the middle. And that's what calls me every day, saying, come outside, go here, spend some time here. It's as close as I can get to what I grew up with and what calls to me personally. We've got Rendlesham Forest, which is the heath that I live on is very, very close to Rendlesham Forest. So when I feel a real need to get out into the bigger forest, I just head on over to Rendlesham, either walk or cycle there, and yeah, just spend hours in the woods there, because they've got some lovely old parts in there that are filled with these lovely old deciduous trees with oaks and maples and all sorts, which is wonderful, especially in the autumn. I've learned to work with the energy of the heathland here. Again, this is something I never grew up with. I had no idea what a heath is, and many people in Canada ask me, you know, what is a heath? You know, we've never come across or seen a heathland. And so I have to explain, you know, it's a very different, very dry, arid environment with very acidic soil, and it's filled with low-lying heather and the taller gorse bushes and big, wide, open skies. And yeah, the animals that live there are different. On the heath here, we have adders, which, you know, I grew up in a place where there were no poisonous snakes, and now I live right next to a place where the only and one of the most poisonous snakes lives and thrives because it's so warm and a very good environment for it. So I've had to learn to adapt. When I'm out on the heath, I have to make sure that I'm wearing, you know, proper footwear. just in case I startle one or accidentally step on one, which again, touch wood, hasn't happened. I've seen adders basking in the sun in the path in front of me, and it's been wonderful. They're gorgeous, gorgeous creatures, and they're actually quite shy, so it's mostly when you startle them that it can be a little bit dangerous, or if you accidentally step on them. A friend of mine actually accidentally stepped on one last summer or early autumn, I think it was. Yeah, and yeah, he had to go to the hospital. Of course, he wasn't wearing very good footwear, so you know, you gotta adapt to your environment. So yeah, Heathland was an energy that I had to learn how to work with, and I found it really, really fascinating, and I'm still learning about it. I'm still learning how to connect to it. The light, especially in the wintertime, is just fantastic because the sun is low, you have these big open skies full of pastel colors, and the light that you get is just, it's amazing. It's just this soft, beautiful, pinky, orangey, golden glow that just lights up everything that's on the heath, and it's wonderful. The heathland is also where I've come to learn about fallow deer and spending so much time with fallow deer. I've got lots of muntjac that come and visit me in my garden here, and occasionally sometimes the fallow deer make it through the hedge, and we have to guard our trees at that point, especially our apple trees in the spring. But yeah, I've learned a lot about fallow deer by spending time with them on the heath and working with their energies, and being there during the rut especially. Every autumn from September to November, it's a wonderful time to be with them, because they're less shy and they come out more, and the stags are in their full glory with their racks on display, and the does are, you know, meeping and running around, and the little ones kind of don't know what to do. And it's a fantastic atmosphere. It's like party season for the deer, and so you get out there and you're stumbling across them left, right, and center. Now that the rut is over, it's very hard to see them. You know, they're much more quiet. They're much more recluse. And you're lucky if you get to see them. They're getting into their bigger herds. In wintertime they get into big herds. So this is the time of year when, if you do see them, like perhaps out in the middle of the heath, you know, foraging for some food amongst the heather, then you'll see them in herds of about 70 to 100 strong, and that is just amazing. But there's no way that you can get as close to them as you can in the autumn. In the autumn, they tend to lose their timidity and are much braver, and you can get close to them. So yeah, I've learned to work with the energies of the heath and be inspired by it. As you can see from my photography and in a lot of videos, there's a lot of deer. And here, working in this environment as well, my beautiful backyard, I've learned to work with, you know, a very south-facing backyard, which has very dry, sandy, acidic soil. So learning what will thrive, what will not. We created these gardens pretty much by ourselves, planted the birch trees down the side, and yeah, just learning to work with their energies. Yeah, I'm always called to my garden to come out, spend time here. And there's lots of animals that visit the garden. We've got pheasants and badgers and foxes and deer and birds of all kinds, owls, all kinds of small songbirds, and hawks and kestrels that fly overhead too. So it's a wonderful environment, a very inspiring environment. So yeah, my heart, I have to say, my heart is usually always torn between here, where I live now in Suffolk in the UK, and where I grew up in Quebec, Canada. Those two environments are the ones that sing to me the most in my life. So yeah, some are more approachable than others. just because of my own life experience and energies that I feel comfortable with. I know other people that love the sea and will spend so much time at the sea, and it really inspires them. So yeah, different people feel comfortable in different places, obviously, for different reasons. So yeah, I think this has been a good little Q&A session. I'd like to do this again in the future. So yeah, maybe head on over to my Patreon page, or comment on this video if you'd like to see some more. We've got Barnabas, who's just come in to say hi. Hi everybody. He has to be in the video, don't you? Yes you do. You can go in the chair. Oh, big boy. Yeah. Nope, he's going down. I'm gonna get the cat hair out of my mouth now. So yeah, comment on this video if you'd like to see more Q&A sessions, and get in touch, ask your questions in the comment section, or get in touch with me. You can always find my details on my website, and of course all my different other channels as well. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you next time. Take care.